Hello, friends. My name is Amy Johnson, and I am the creator of the BoothBoss App, an app that I designed to help us to stay organized and keep all of the data and information that we need for our vendor events. Now, if you're anything like me, you may have found yourself looking into a multitude of places to find everything we need in order to have effective vendor events. I was referring back to my emails to find contact information, dates, booth number, booth size, what I paid, receipts. I was looking up the weather to see what that was going to be like. I was looking up the directions to see how long it was going to take me to get there. And then we have all of the expenses involved, not to mention my sales and an event summary. And did I like the event? Was it worth my time? Would I want to go back again? What was the traffic like? What profit did I make? And who did I connect with during this event? All of these things I was having trouble putting together into one place, or actually had it in multiple places most of the time: notebooks, receipts, papers. And so I was looking for a way to compile all of this into one resource, and I couldn't find it. No matter what app or spreadsheet I checked out, none of them had all of the tools that I wanted. So I decided to make it. Another feature that I love is you can actually even upload photos of your booth space into the app as well, which I constantly found myself scrolling back onto my phone to find my setup pictures in order to help inspire how my next event setup was going to look. So all of these tools I have put into one place. I hope you will find it as useful as I have. And also, if you have recommendations, if you have suggestions or ideas, I am open to hearing about those as well. I would love us to make this an incredible, useful tool that benefits everyone who does vendor events and helps us to be more successful in our future endeavors as well. So, without further ado, let's dive in so that you can see if this is the right fit for you. Okay, let's dive in. So, first of all, your login screen. So, in order to get here, the link is simply boothboss.base44.app. I'm sure you found a link to get there in the first place. You can log in with Google, Microsoft, Facebook. You can even create an account. So, down here where it says need an account, sign up, you can do that if you prefer. So, you have a lot of options to log in. I have a lot of emails here, so I'm just going to choose the one that I'm using as my tester account. And when you log in, the first thing you're going to see is your dashboard. Now, there's a lot on the left that kind of helps you to set up your account. And then on the right is going to be where you're going to see and maintain and edit your events. So let's start with the left-hand side. Now, once you get a bunch of events on your calendar, they will all be over here in the calendar area. So me, for example, I'm doing a lot of events right now. So my November calendar is very full. So it's nice to, at a glance, see the events that you have coming up. So this is a shortcut. And of course, you can click on any of these to get directly to your link. There is also an all events page. Again, this is going to have your prior events, your upcoming events, everything you need in one place. You can also search for them. Your sales page is where you're going to be recording your sales, and we'll go over this more. I've plugged a few into a mock event so we can use that as a demo. You can also import your sales. So let's say, for example, during your events, you use a processing machine like Square or PayPal or anything else that takes credit cards, and you don't want to come home from an event and then have to re-import all of that information. You can simply export out a report from whatever processing system you're using and then import into BoothBoss so that you can still have that same information without having to duplicate everything you've already done. Now, do pay attention that it does have to be a CSV file, and that also we give you your headers over here as well. So make sure your headers match. That way the mapping is going to be accurate and you don't have to fill every field. For example, we have tax and shipping and quantity and product name. You don't have to put anything in those fields if you don't want to. So you don't have to do everything, but you do want to make sure the information that's important to you does have the right headers. Inventory. Now, this is a section that you might use, and you might use it in different ways than you're even initially thinking. So let me kind of explain this. Myself, for example, I don't do any cash and carry. Everything that I sell at an event is online through my company's website. Now, I do list some things in inventory in my own personal version of the app because I like to know which items are the most popular. So I put them into the system, but I don't record a tally of them as in like a deductible inventory quantity because I'm not keeping those items in my home or I'm not stocking them. So let's show that real quick. If you go over to add product, down here at the bottom, you have a couple of options. Number one, you can make products active and inactive. And this other one where it says track inventory from sales, I turn that off. So I have the product marked as active, but I'm not deducting quantity as I sell them because, again, I don't have the products on hand. But there's a few other really key components that I want to make sure that you're aware of in this. So let's just go ahead and make something up. So for example, I sell pet health and wellness products. So our most popular product is our wild Alaskan salmon and pollock oil. So I'm just going to put salmon oil to make this quick. One of our bottles is $27.99. I'm going to put that in. So here is where this might vary for you. If you are creating the products yourself, let's say that you are charging $15 for something that charges you $6 to create or whatever your breakdown is. If you put in your retail price and then your cost of goods price, then the system is going to calculate what your commission is. It's going to calculate how much you profit on the sale of that item. Okay. So if you have those numbers, put those numbers in. For myself, I'm commission based. So I earn between 30 and 45% commission. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in 30% commission here. Now, again, I'm not going to put in any quantity, but if you want to track it, you definitely can. Now, also remember, if you put in a current quantity, you're going to want to keep this box checked so that it can deduct as you sell the product. So I'm going to leave this 0, and then I'm also going to have that unchecked. Up here, you can put in SKUs if you want to, or product codes, and you can create categories. This is something that you're going to do in the create category section, but that allows you to further organize your products. Variations, if you'd like to, you can add photos if you want to, and you can even keep notes. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit create product. It's as simple as that. Now, if you already have a list of products that you would like to import into the system, again, you can do that as well. So when you click on import, remember it is a CSV. And again, we are providing you with your column headers so that you know exactly what needs to be in your spreadsheet in order to import them in effectively so that they map correctly. Okay, that's an easy way to do it. Now, I like the look of these cards, but after a while, it's going to get busy because you're going to have so many. So there is a list view as well that's going to help to summarize your list and make it more condensed, and your items are all going to be in alphabetical order. But again, if your list gets really huge, you can come over here and you can search for them. You can also search by categories. And again, up here is where you can edit my categories. So if you have got different things you'd like to be able to use, different sections. So for me, I have treats and I have pet food and I have health and wellness products and I have solution sets, and I like to have those categories separated. So it helps me to, again, organize my products. Whatever works best for you, you get to create your own categories right here. Okay. So that's how the inventory section works. Customers, these are going to be pulled in as you create. You can create them on this side too, but most of the time you will be creating your customers in the event itself. Expenses, that's pretty self-explanatory, and you'll see where these numbers are coming from. I've plugged in a couple of numbers already from my mock event. So this is showing me what my expenses are for the year so far, and you can see even where they are tied. So for example, I have a booth fee here that's tied to the holiday event. And then you can see that I also have, let me move my face up for a minute. I have a $15 tied to a miscellaneous fee. But you can also see these are hyperlinks, so you can go directly to that event to also see where that's coming from. Another section is the unpaid expenses. So each time you add an expense in, you're going to have the option to mark that expense paid or not paid. So in this situation, my hotel has not been paid yet because I haven't gone to the event. This is a really great way to see what is not paid. We also have a team section where you can have team shared expenses. And so this is also great to see who hasn't paid their share of the expenses yet when you get into the team option as well. So now we have two options for checklists. We have my setup and we have to-dos. Now for the setup, I want you to think of this as the area where you're going to record all of the things that you bring for your events. So probably the easiest way to do this is like when I set mine up, it was right before I went to an event. And as I was grabbing all of the things that I needed, I put them on my list. So that's how I created my master list. This one over here in your navigation section, these are going to be your master lists that you're able to copy and edit, and you'll see how that works in the event section shortly. But think of this again as all of the things you want to bring. And I want you to even overpopulate your lists. I want you to put in everything imaginable because, again, they are editable. So, for example, I created a very short list that says master outdoor event list. Obviously, my outdoor events and my indoor events are quite a bit different, right? So for this one, for example, I just put tent, table, tablecloth, chair. Now, once I have this big long list, there's probably going to be some similar items, right? There'll be some items that I take to both, and then some items I don't need. So what you can do once you create your full master list is you can click on edit right here. It brings the list up here, and now I want to create an indoor list. So let's call this instead master indoor list. Let's go ahead and remove tent because I don't need a tent for indoors. And I'm just going to leave this as is. And then here I have the option to update existing, which would then modify my outdoor, which I don't want to do, or I can save it as new. So I'm not going to have to take all of those items I put into that first list and retype them. I'm just going to hit save as new, which is now going to create a whole new list for me. So now I have my master outdoor list. I'll talk about banners and signs in a minute, and now I have a master indoor list. So let's go to banners and signs for a moment. Let's click on edit. Now, the reason I have a banners and signs section instead of just putting those in my outdoor list is for my particular events, I actually have a ton of signage. I have tons of different banners, and I use them for different purposes. So for example, I have a banner that's for issues. Well, I have a vertical and I have a horizontal, but I don't bring both. I only bring the one that I need based on the event that I'm going to be at, my spaces, all of that. So I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So we're going to say horizontal. And then let's add another, and I do have like an 8-foot. So you know how maybe you have a whole lot of different things. I'm going to say paw tree banner. So I'm just kind of making some stuff up right now. Okay, so I'm going to update the existing because I do want to keep my banners and signs. Now, you're going to see in a moment when we get into the event section how it's handy to have too much on your list and how it's a good thing for later on. So make different lists for different things. I also have a list that I call technology, and that is my Wi-Fi hotspot, my tablet, any cables and cords that I'm going to need, extra battery power, battery blocks, all of that kind of stuff. So I've kind of categorized them in order to help me stay organized as opposed to having one big, massive list. Hope that makes sense. And yes, my lists are much longer than what you see here. Now, for the to-do list, I want you to think of this as the tasks you need to get done before an event. Maybe you have to reach out to the coordinator. Maybe you haven't paid your fee yet. Maybe you need to order supplies. This is a really great place to come in and create those lists. Now, again, for myself, there are tasks that I do before every event. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create, again, another master to-dos is what I'm going to call it. This is my master list. So for me, I create goodie bags. I also make treat samples. So what are the things that you need to get done prior to an event? Maybe you have little packaging that you use for your events. Maybe you need to order supplies. Maybe there are just very specific tasks that you have to accomplish prior to the event. The things that you do all of the time, definitely put those in your master list. But again, it's not going to hurt you to have more. So I'm going to actually add one more pay fee. And I'm going to kind of show you what I mean about that in a moment. So I'm going to save it as new. Now I have this master list. Now over here for tips and updates, this is whenever I add an update to the app or when I just want to share a tip with you guys, I will put that information in here. If you've not read it, there'll actually be kind of like this one over here for the unpaid expenses. You will see a number next to tips and updates to let you know there's messages you haven't seen. Once you read it, there will be a box over here that says, mark as read. That way that little flag goes away and you know that you're caught up. Now we also have a really quick brief tour that you can access simply by coming into tours, tips and updates, and it will walk you through some of the areas. It's not going to be as detailed as what we're covering right now, but it still is a great overview and highlight of what this app has to offer. Now, a few more important things that you're definitely going to want to do as quickly as possible is go into your profile. Again, this will show you what your status is, how many days you have left of your trial. You can upgrade simply by clicking this button here. But in the edit profile section, by the way, that's not my phone number or my address. You are going to want to at least put in your home address because there's mapping that takes place when you create the events. And the only way for the system to map for you is to know where you're coming from. So be sure to include your address here. And if you are also doing any types of cash and carry, over here where it says edit tax settings, you'll open this up and you will want to enter your default tax rate. And that will help you to calculate things accurately as well. Again, I do everything online, so I don't worry about this. I'm going to hit cancel. You can export your data here, and then of course you can log out as well. Also over on the far left side, you're going to see your account information and places to get help. So this is my email address, boothbossapp@gmail.com. You're welcome to email me anytime if you have questions, concerns, if you need help. But probably my most favorite part is down here where it says feedback and report issues. I would love your feedback as a vendor, as people who are in the field and using this in real time. If you think of something that would be helpful for you. Or if you find that you're doing a lot of stuff within the app, but there's something else you're having to get elsewhere, let me know and let's see if I can integrate it and put it inside of this so we can truly have a one-stop shop for our events, a place that has all of the information we need in one area. So I can't promise that I can do everything that you guys request, but if I feel like it's beneficial and that it will serve the field as a whole, and it will serve all of the different people from the boutique people and the direct sales people and everyone who's at these events, then I will definitely see what I can do to integrate it. So please feel free to share your feedback. So we have gone through the main navigation. Again, your welcome page is going to have your upcoming events, your overviews, your previous events. But next we are going to dive into setting up events. Okay, let's create your first event. So a few things I want to show you right off the bat is what an event's going to look like once you've created it. I think this is one of my favorite parts is I can log into the app and I can at a glance get the information I need about upcoming events. So for example, this demo that I created here, I can see my setup date along with the times, and then I can see my event date and times. I can see the address. And if you see when I'm hovering, there's a little line, which means it is clickable. This is, again, why your address is important, because now if I were to click that from my phone, it would open up my mapping application and it would actually give me directions to get there. Nice and easy, right? And also even weather. I was constantly looking online, projecting the weather. The app is trained to look at event day weather. So no matter when you're looking at it, it shouldn't be showing you that day's weather. It should be showing you the weather for your upcoming event. Now, do keep in mind, if you have booked an event months out, it's probably not going to be accurate because weather telling is just not that good. But as you get closer, this will give you a much more accurate idea of what the weather is going to look like when you get closer to your event day. So again, I love this snapshot, but let's go ahead and create a new event so that you can see the process. So we have 4 different tabs that we're going to be working from. First, we're going to put in the name of our event. So I'm going to call this one a Holiday Expo. Address, again, you're going to pop in the physical address of that event so that the system can map to you. Now you have a couple of options here. If you're going to be traveling from your home and you have this box checked, then it's going to map from my house, from your house to the location. But maybe you're not home. There are some venues that I do where I actually stay at a hotel nearby. You could even put the hotel's address here or your mom's address if you're staying with your mom or your friend. But you have an option here. Whatever address you put in is what the system is going to use to help navigate you to your event. So keep that in mind. I'm going to leave mine as traveling from home. If it's a multi-day event, like you saw in the example a moment ago, it'll allow you to do multiple days. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. We're going to say next weekend, for example. And if I click on multiple days, actually, I should have done that first. Next weekend. Now, the times are not super, like you can be super generic. You can put in 9A, 4P. It will auto adjust for you in auto format. And if I click on add day, it is going to automatically choose the next day. And it's also going to copy over my dates and times. So make sure that you are looking at that to be sure that that is accurate for whatever your event is. We're going to tweak them here just a bit. Now, in regard to the notes section, maybe there's something special happening on those days. There's, like, I do a couple of larger events where they have a happy hour or a ladies' night for a couple of hours, or sometimes they have early bird specials. You can put notes into those days. What you can also do is come in during the event and you can put notes on those days in regards to how the event flow was, how you felt about that day, how you felt that the sales were. So you can keep notes in this section any way you want. I've actually included notes in a lot of areas. So there's lots of ways to really track and really see how your events did. At the bottom, you have your event type. Again, this one's an expo. Is it an indoor or outdoor event? Now, awaiting approval is a really great one to use if maybe you are interested in this event and you're putting it in your calendar, but maybe it hasn't opened yet. So you're not officially approved. Maybe you're on a wait list, right? So any reason where you're not 100% confirmed, you can mark it as awaiting approval. Actually, let's do that so I can show you the difference. Well, the others, of course, confirmed means you've paid and confirmed. Your event will automatically switch over to completed when the event is done. And canceled, of course, whatever may happen. But we're going to leave this one as awaiting approval. Now, don't hit create event yet. Scroll back up and let's fill out the rest of the areas. So for venue cost, you're going to plug in whatever the cost of your event is. I'm going to put $100. If you use electricity, click that box and then put in whatever your cost is for electricity. Miscellaneous. Sometimes you have to do a door prize or there's some sort of additional fee. Parking. I mean, who knows, right? So you have an option to put in additional fees. Again, you have a notes section. How did you pay? I'm going to say online credit card. You can upload your receipt for the event. So when they send you your invoice or some sort of receipt, download it, upload it here. What is your booth number? And what is your booth size? All that information can be housed right here. Now, setup. This is one of my favorites. I love to be able to set up in advance. Nothing makes me happier, especially when the event's really early in the morning. I always want to go in the day before. So this allows you to do that. Come in here. Okay, my event's on the 23rd. I can set up on the 21st from noon until 9 p.m. And maybe there's notes, like you have to park in the back or something specific. You have, again, yet another notes area. And then in the contact and notes field, this is where you get to put your contact person's info and their email, their phone number, the website link. Now, this could be the website link of the coordinator. Like sometimes there's websites for the organizations that put things together, or you could even use this link if there's like an event link on Facebook or Eventbrite or something. So you have a couple different places, and even in your notes, you could include additional links as well. I have found this to be super handy when the following year is coming up and I'm like, hey, what about that event? I haven't heard from someone. Who was it from last year? And rather than going back into my email and scrolling through all those emails to figure out who I need to reach out to, now you have the information attached to the event to help you to get in touch with them. So we're going to hit create. Now, unless it has an asterisk, it's not a required field. So whatever you put in is what's going to show up here in your overview. If you don't put something in, then it's not going to take up space. Okay. So you can see here we have a yellow awaiting approval. If we go back to dashboard, you're going to see the different colors. So confirmed is green, awaiting approval is yellow. So this way, at a glance, you know which events you're still waiting for confirmation on, right? So they are flagged a little bit different. Let's pop back into the expo here. We can see all of our details. We can see our days and times, and we can see our weather at the bottom. Personally, I love the weather. Okay, working our way across the list. Sales, we'll touch on that in a moment because right now we're still setting things up, right? Team, this is a phenomenal area if you do team events, as in maybe you work your events with another owner. Maybe there's two of you that do the events together. Maybe you have friends and family come and help you. Now for myself, because I am part of a direct sales company, I actually have team members that come and work with me. So I will plug them into the team section. So we're all able to share like how we do at the events. There's a note section. We'll do a deep dive into team in just a few minutes. You can see more about that. The integrity of your privacy is super important to me. So just know whatever information that's being shared in the team section is very separated and private. So your customers are not seen by anybody else in the team and whatnot. So again, we'll go over that shortly and you'll be able to see exactly how that works. But I love this section. And then our setups and our to-dos. Now, remember we talked about this over in navigation. So now that we're in our holiday event and we're still in the setup section, let's go pop in here and see what we have to do. Now, we created our master lists, right? Now you can create a whole new list if you want to. You can start from scratch. However, you can also load a saved list, which I'm hoping will save you time. Now we go to our saved lists. We have the master outdoor, the banners, and the indoor. So I'm going to say master indoor because I want that one. We're going to load this list in, okay? Now you can load multiple lists. So I also want to go in and I want to pull in my banners. Now you can add it to lists, but I want to load it as a new list. So now I have my master indoor list and I have my banners list. Now, here is why I said put all of your information in your master list. So for example, for this event, I'm thinking I really only want my issues banner. It's for pet issues, by the way, in case you're wondering what issues is. I really only want the horizontal, which means I don't need the vertical. So I can delete the vertical banner and I can delete the one that says pottery. This is all I want. I want the one issues banner. Now, because I'm in the event section, this is not modifying my master list at all. And I will show you that in just a moment. Now let's go up here and let's look at the master. Let's say a table's being provided for me. So I don't need a table. So I'm going to remove that one. So obviously your list is probably much bigger than this. I have all kinds of decorations, but all I need for this event is a tablecloth, a chair, wow, and my banner. That's all I'm bringing to this event. Wouldn't that be nice? Now I'm going to show you real quick. If I go back over here to the My Setup, look, my banners and signs list is still there. And my outdoor list, like that was not touched at all. So your master lists are going to stay intact, but you get to pull them in, delete out the things you don't need, and then you only have the lists that you want. Now, also, this is a holiday expo. So let's go to setup. Let's say I also need to bring some holiday decor. So I can type in right here, holiday decor, and I can add that. And now, again, my master list is not being affected, but I'm adding something that I'm going to need specifically for this event, right? And then, of course, as I pack these items, I come over here and I check them off so that I know that I'm fully packed and ready for my event. Cool, right? Now, same thing with the to-do section. I can load a saved list. Remember, I have that master list. We're going to pull that one in here. And maybe for this one, I'm like, well, I already paid my fee, so that's irrelevant. Let's just go ahead and delete that one because I paid that up front, right? But whatever, I can add additional things. Maybe there is something different I have to do for this event. Maybe I have to do a drawing. So I need to create drawing slips. Okay, so let me add that goodie. in there. And again, that's not being added to my master lists. It's only staying here. But here's something else fun is, do you see this little upload button here? If I click on that, I can save it as a completely new template in my global settings if I want to, or I can even update the existing template. So you can create new lists all the time. You can go delete, modify, edit, whatever you want, but never feel like, oh, I've created something and now I'm going to have to retype it. There's plenty of ways for you to save your information. Okay. So I've done all of these. I am so ready for my event. Look at me go. You can see down there, it says all tasks complete. Now, the display button, this is the one that you're not going to be using until the day of your event. And I love this one so much. I can't tell you guys how often I go into my phone and I'm scrolling looking for prior event display pictures so that I can remember, how did I do that one thing? How did I set it up for this particular space? And event spaces always seem to be so different based on whether you have a corner or not, whether you have a 10 by 10, maybe you have an 8 by 6. The spaces are always different. So your display is constantly being modified. So what I love about this is you can upload photos. So while you're at the event, take pictures and upload them right here. Now we'll talk more about the team section in just a moment, but if you took team photos that you want to be able to share with everybody, you can put those in here too. So there's no limit to how many pictures you can add, but add in your event photos. Again, you can reference these later on so you can come back to these. Like if you're at an event next week, you could say, hey, I liked my setup last week. Let me go back and look at those photos. And you can do this, or next year when you're at that same venue, you'll be able to come in, pull up last year's event, look over all of the information you've saved, and also even see how your setup was. So I'm excited about this part as well. Expenses, we chatted a little bit about this already. We've got our booth fee here. You can add in anything else. So if you have hotel expenses, if you have parking, all of your expenses you can put in here, and you can upload receipts. That is optional. There's a mileage tracker for you as well. You can do your starting and ending mileage. And then that will help you to calculate that. So again, we're keeping track of all of our goodies here. And again, we have our summary, and I love the summary. So at the end of your event, this is what you get to record. How was the weather? How was the traffic? How would you rate this event? What were your best sellers? What worked well? What areas need improvement? And then down here, would you return to this event? How are you feeling about this? And if you choose to actually reserve, because sometimes you can do that on the spot, you can reserve for the following year. You can actually duplicate this event on the spot for next year. So you don't have to go back in and recreate it and do all the things. Now, it's not going to copy over your sales, your customers, anything specific. It's just going to copy over the overview, which is just like the name, the contact, email, and link and phone number, and the address, but the dates, the times, and then all of the other details will be blank for you to populate. But nice and easy, right? And you can just hit create new event if you want to as well. Let's dive into the team section next. Now, this could be that you're working your event with others, or it could be that you're working it with team members, anyone other than just you who could be working the event. This is going to be a really great way for you guys to collaborate, for you guys to assign tasks, for you to see how everyone is cumulatively doing at this event. So you really get a much better perspective of how your events are doing. So let's take a look at this. So we do have an invite link. Now, this invite link is not going to specifically tie that person to this event. It's just a link for them to create their account. Okay, so you're going to hit the copy and invite link, send that to your friend, and you're going to want to ask them what email address they are using to create their BoothBoss account. Okay. And then down here, this is where you're going to plug their information in. So I am going to go ahead and plug in one of my emails. This is actually the email that my main account is under for my business. And then role, you can just say sales help or whatever you want. Husband, friend, team member. Now, this is cool too for shared expenses. A lot of times when you're doing events, you break up that expense among each other. And so not one person is having to foot the whole bill. So this is a $100 event. So let's divide the expenses. And I'm going to put $50 for the venue. We can put a note if we want to. We're going to hit add expense. If you're sharing hotel, anything else, you can add all of those expenses too. And then I'm just going to hit add team member. Okay. Now what's going to happen is, you see where it says pending? This person is going to get a notification on their dashboard that will actually say you have been invited to collaborate on this event. And that person is given the option to approve or to decline. If they approve, then all of this information, all the event information you have just created is going to go into their accounts so that they can see it as well. Okay, next we have schedule. Now, when you're doing a really long event, I have one coming up that's 5 days and it's like 12-hour days. So we are obviously going to divide that up. This is an area where you can choose choose the team member, pick the date that they're going to be working, and then also choose the times. What time are they showing up? What time are they leaving? So that this helps to divide out the effort that everyone is doing and that everyone is very aware of the times. So I'm just making something up here, and you can see where it says day 1 and it's going to break it down. So if I have 2 people for day 1 based on the date that I put in, it'll put them, and then day 2, day 3, and so on. Again, really great way for everyone to have a schedule and know when they're supposed to be there. Now, this tasks area is really cool. Now that I have put a team member in, remember the to-dos that I showed you earlier? This little widget here doesn't show up unless you have chosen to do a team member. So if I wanted to assign someone to do the goodie bags, or maybe all of us need to. Maybe everyone who's coming needs to create goodie bags, make treat samples, and create drawing slips. I can just click this little face here, and I can say all team members, or I can assign it just to one person. So if you want to delegate and you want to say your job is this, your job is this, your job is this, you can also even put a due date on here. But I've assigned everyone those tasks. So now on my end, if I go back to team and I go to tasks, I can see who has done what. It's actually going to, now again, these are both me, but it will separate out and it will show you which team members have done their tasks and which have not. So especially if you have asked them to bring certain things, you can come in and you can see if they've either done that task or if they've checked off that they're going to bring it. So assigning tasks can be super helpful for your business. Now there's also a chat section. You guys can have a conversation within BoothBoss. Now, currently there are not any notifications. That is something that will be coming in a future release, but in the future there will be notifications. But if you want to keep your chat specific to the event and within the event, you can do that right here. And then your summary, as the day progresses and as people choose to put their sales and whatnot in here, you're actually going to see all of these numbers go up, and cumulatively everybody's sales are going to come together. Now, one of the things I want to show you really quick is when we added me in as a user, do you see down here? So the creator, which is the ACJ account, this is the information you see. And then as information were to be put in on the other account, this is actually all that's visible. So it would say for your team members, it would tell you if they completed their tasks, it would tell you their shifts, and it would show you their shared expenses. And then below that, it would say how many customers and how much in sales they had. That's it. So there's no sharing of customers. Nobody gets to see anybody else's customers or anybody else's customer information. And again, we'll talk about sales in a moment, but that team member can even choose to just do a summary of sales as opposed to even individual sales. So again, privacy is super important. Nobody can see each other's information or their customers. So there's no worry in that regard. But I love this overall because everyone kind of gets to see how the team is working together. Now, if you invite a team member, your team member can upload pictures. Let me move this photo over again. They can upload pictures. They can come in here. They can add to the summary, add what their thoughts are. They can go into the expenses and add in expenses. What they cannot do is they cannot delete the event. and they cannot edit the overview. So only whoever created the event has the ability to do that. Everyone else can plug information in, but they cannot edit the event. So that is kind of the overview of the team section. And next, we're going to talk about sales. Okay, are you ready to talk about sales? So, I mean, you go to these events to make connections and to sell your products, your services, whatever you have to offer, right? So, this is where we're going to record that. Now, you have two options in the sales section. There is a daily summary, and there's also an individual transaction. Now, I wanted both of these in here because a lot of times there's folks that are using credit card processing machines or systems, right? Maybe they're using Square or PayPal or Stripe. Now, if you're doing that, the last thing you want to do at the end of a long event is come home and then plug all of those individual transactions into another system. Now, remember, you can import your sales. So if you want to export out from whatever system you use and import in, you can do that. You have your import sales option right here. And remember, it shows you what your column headers are, so you know exactly what to do so that the mapping is correct. So that's option number one. Option number two is to simply use the daily summary. Go into whatever your report is. Let's open this up. And for today's sales, you could add your inventory items if you want to. You don't have to. You could just say, we did $453.27 in sales, right? Now, the commission, if you know that you earn a commission, you can put the commission rate in here. If you leave it blank, by default, the system is going to assume that you make 100% commission. So it'll say you sold $453 and you made $453. So I'm going to say 25% commission because why not? And then down here, maybe you sold 8 items and you had 8 customers. Again, I'm just making up numbers. But again, this is all going to go towards kind of the overall summary of how this event went. So you can see the calculations are already being done for you. Sold this much, made this much. We're going to say add. So now we have a day one sale. So when you put the date in, it'll say day one, day two. You can also put in other dates because I have customers sometimes that come back to me after the event, but I still want that customer tied to the event because that's where I met them. So you can come in and you can plug in sales that are even beyond the dates of the actual event itself. So this is what a summary looks like, right? We're just plugging everything in really quickly. But let's say, for example, you do want to do individual transactions. This is what I do because I actually want to see which products are selling the best, and I like to keep track of where I've met people. So I'm going to go ahead and add in items. I think I did that. Yep, I did the salmon oil, so we're going to pop that in. So if you have a product that you've already put the information in, it's actually going to start calculating it for you automatically. So this is kind of another benefit to having those items is I can come in, I can choose, I can search, and then everything is going to be calculated for me. So I'm going to put in Sue Jones. Email, phone number, whatever you want. Mark if they're a new customer or a repeat customer. What was the transaction type? Was it cash and carry? Was it online, custom order, after event order? You have lots of options here. Payment type if you wish to record that. The total was already calculated for me. Now, based on if you were doing cash and carry and you put in your tax rate, then that tax area would already be calculated for you. Because I'm doing online sales, that sales calculation is already done online for me for the taxes. So I'm just going to make up a number and say 321. And then we'll just say free shipping. Also, you can put discounts in, whether it be a percentage or a whole dollar amount. You can plug that in. Again, you can even override your commission. If you remember, I chose my commission when I was creating the inventory items, but maybe there's a big sale, or maybe I'm now making more commission, right? Like I can change that value on the spot. This will not change it in the inventory, but it'll change it for this specific transaction. So I'm going to say I made 45% commission on this order, and I'm going to click on add. So now I have 2 very different transactions. I have one, you can tell by the name, it says Sue, so it's an individual. And then I have a daily summary. So you can choose to add your sales in however you want. Same for your team members. Your team members can choose to do individuals or summary. But Your team members will not see other people's sales. It will show as a summary to others. They will not get to actually see your team members' names. So keep that in mind. So now that we've plugged a few things in, let's take a look at some of the fun parts. Let's go over to summary. So we can see here for summary that our total sales were $484. If you are calculating, your either percentage or what it costs you to make things, you're actually going to be able to see on the spot how much money you actually made. Because a lot of times we get really excited about, oh, I sold $1,000 at this event, but what is your true cost? Or what is your true commission? We want to really know how much we're actually making. If you're a numbers person like me, this part's really important to us. So we're looking at this, and then now we're looking at the expenses. So we have the total expenses. That is one person's cost is $50. Another team member contributed $50. So obviously, if you deduct that, then the net profit for this person is $75. So anyways, guys, that is a basic overview of BoothBoss. There are a lot more fun things that are going to be coming in the near future. Again, I really would love to hear your feedback and your ideas, so don't hesitate to share them. The view is going to be similar on a phone, but of course it is going to be condensed. If you have trouble finding anything, let me know, but it should be a very similar look and feel to this. There is also a way to save a shortcut on your phone. And I will create another video to share that with you soon as well. Thanks for watching, guys. And I hope you love the app as much as I do. Okay, let's create a BoothBoss shortcut on your phone. So first, you're going to want to navigate on your browser to boothboss.base44.app. You can see we are here now. Next, you're going to want to click the three dots in the upper right-hand corner. This will open up another menu. Now you're going to want to scroll down, and do you see the one that says add to home screen towards the bottom? That's what we're looking for. Tap there. Next, click the install button. Click install again. Now it's not going to automatically put the app on your home screen. So let's go in and let's search our apps. If you don't see it right away, you can search. Otherwise, just give it a moment. It will pop up. There it is, BoothBoss. Next, you're going to want to long press and click on Add to Home Screen. And there is your shortcut. Enjoy!